Marriage Story is one of the great movies from the last several years by Noah Baumbach, who I've covered on this channel, his Squid and the Whale. Also a divorce movie or a children in divorce movie. This one, though, is more about adults, focusing on Charlie and Nicole, played respectively by Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. This is a really felt, emotionally complex movie that I think, I've never been through divorce, but I think gets many of the emotional downsides, the melancholy, the agony, everything about divorce seems real and palpable to me here. And I originally thought, I think I still think this, that anybody going into marriage for marriage and getting marriage counseling, for example, ought to watch this movie. What a downer that would be, but it is a warning, a moral warning, a legal warning, financial warning about the consequences of divorce. Both Johansson and Driver are just awesome in this, and a movie that updates a classic divorce movie, Kramer versus Kramer, which was well loved when it came out in the late 70s, about a couple separating. Hard to beat Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep, but I think they did here. I mean, I love this movie's updating of that movie. I think this is an even better movie in a lot of ways. And one reason why I will never forget this, when you come across a movie and you will never forget something, I will never forget the lawyers in this movie. All the lawyering, the legal posturing. The movie really pits two things against each other. The ordinary human interaction between Charlie and Nicole, their son, everything that happens in a personal way, and then the lawyer stuff in this movie. And you see things happen in the movie in the personal life, and then it comes into the lawyer stuff, whether it's just in talking with a lawyer or the actual court cases, the arguments before a judge that goes on here. They seem completely distorted, completely out of place, exaggerated, and that's an arena, and it's treated as a separate arena, the legal scene, where Charlie and Nicole are completely separated, completely at odds, jockeying for position, for custody of their child. While over here, they're interacting. Charlie likes Nicole's mother and his in-laws. Charlie and Nicole get along in different ways. I mean, the lawyering stuff in this, Ray Liotta, Laura Dern is excellent in this, Alan Alda. Those are the three divorce lawyers in here. They all play kind of different types of lawyers. And I will never forget their performances and the way this movie uses them over and against Charlie and Nicole's ordinary life. And of course, Charlie and Nicole, they're pretty well off. They're New York City people, actors, directors. Charlie's a director of a play that's going to go to Broadway. Nicole's been in movies. She's forsaken some of her acting career, quite a lot of it probably, for the family, but yet she's got a lot of talent, and so we know that, and we see it develop over the course of this movie. They're both in an art scene. Charlie even wins the MacArthur Fellowship during this movie, $600,000+ worth, so that seems awesome, and yet the separation and divorce are happening in this movie, which is gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and the dominant strain in their lives that is making everything aching and everything distorted. And at the center of it, of course, he's not always there in this movie, is the child, who is taken back and forth between his mother and father. There's even not just a marital split, and so that relationship metaphor split of separation, but also the New York City versus LA, a literal separation, where Nicole goes out to LA and lives there, and then the court cases are taking place out there, and the lawyers tell Charlie, hey, you got to go live out there. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be in New York City for the Broadway play. A literal split between coasts, and then the lawyers are arguing over whether an LA family or a New York family. It all seems like total BS to me. I don't think either Charlie or Nicole really want to go along with the lawyer stuff, but they have to because there's no other way out. I guess they want to try to do this thing without lawyers, but yet how impossible would that be to kind of get their way or to have something out of this divorce proceeding. The movie is beautifully shot, really well done in every single aspect. It starts out with a really great frame narrative where you have sort of a marriage counselor who's mediating a separation. They're going to separate, but Charlie and Nicole, at first you think they love each other, and you see what Nicole says about what she loves about Charlie, and then what Charlie says he loves about Nicole. Actually, vice versa. It begins with Charlie's paean to Nicole. That's 8 minutes of the movie, the first 8 minutes, but then it goes into the marriage counselor who's mediating the separation, and you kind of see the distortion, the warpedness, but yet we know that Charlie likes Nicole, Nicole still likes Charlie, and that thread will continue throughout the entire movie in a description of a relationship that is splitting, and we don't always know exactly why, but yet they also kind of still love each other, wish to be together. That's always kind of sitting there. And so, yep, the beginning is a fake out. That's going to happen several times in this movie where things look real, but then they're fake or they're framed by something else that's bigger and a little bit more sinister or harrowing. Baumbach uses music in this to really accentuate the heartache, the melancholy. Both actors or both characters will sing in this movie at different points in time, but there's a lot of shots as well of just literal separation. You see Charlie on one side of the screen, Nicole on the other, or using depth to do that as well. There's also a wonderful scene where Charlie, who has consulted with the divorce lawyer but hasn't decided to take him on, is called by Laura Dern, the divorce lawyer for Nicole, and he's told to do his papers and go to LA very quickly and to follow the legal proceedings. There's a wonderful scene and shots of alienation, just Charlie lost in the city. Lots of long shots, extreme long shots in this movie, trying to accentuating the heartache, the depression, the separation, the longing, and so on that can come out of the divorce that is in this movie. At one point, Charlie tells his lawyer, or his lawyer temporarily, the Alan Alda character, hey, you're the first person who's treated me as a human. And I think that's one of the abiding ideas of this movie.
Thank you. You're the first person in this process who's spoken to me like a human.
Where is the human at in this world of divorce and lawyer courtroom sort of stuff? I mean, for example, the way that divorce even happens is kind of an alienation, a separation that seems dehumanizing in and of itself. Then you add the lawyers into this where they pick apart the opposite side, and Charlie's life is terrible and stupid and depends on Nicole, according to Nicole's lawyers, and vice versa. And so you have this sort of dehumanizing, it feels like, to Charlie at least, a dehumanizing process, and he is always constantly feeling belittled, ashamed, silly, put down, and so on. I think Nicole is the same way, although I read this movie, I watch it a little bit more like this is more from the male point of view, at least quite a bit of the movie is. But nevertheless, I think Nicole has pretty similar feelings about everything going on. All in all, this is probably my favorite Noah Baumbach movie. Either that or Squid and the Whale, I'm not sure. I think they're both of a piece. They both should be watched as sort of family relationship things that kind of transcend their environment. I'm not of the elite class or the sort of class that's depicted in this movie or in Squid and the Whale. But yeah, I think they're still universal, even though the characters in these movies have props a lot of money and they've been pretty successful in worldly terms. I still feel for them, I still feel with them, and I think, or really believe this, people considering divorce or just people in marriage should watch this movie just to see what could happen to them and get the sense, the empathetic sense for what it's like to be both sides in dealing with divorce. Do you really want that in your life? Do you really want this particular life? You know, the movie asks the question, not that you couldn't answer yes, but this movie asks the question about how really difficult it is. Very quickly, I like Wally Shawn in this. I think he's really funny. They use him as a bit part, and as always, any Wally Shawn appearance is fantastic. Those are some quick words on a movie we could talk about for hours. What do you think of Marriage Story? What do you think of what I said about it? Let us know in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day. This video is dedicated to linguistics, Discord user, subscriber, follower. Thank you very much for your support.